you out there on 7th Avenue, and I'm like, bam! 7th Avenue! Oh my God! That's where I need to be at. Right?
Well, hello, Farentino.
Hey there, Madam
This is
Sunshine.
Madam Sunshine.
Hi, Madam Sunshine. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you today,
I am
sir?
super duper, darling. Yes, I am.
Well, that's great to hear. Are you ready to have a few questions from me?
Yes, I am ready to answer a few questions for you.
Okay, let's begin with the very first one.
Okay.
On our last interview, you said that one of your greatest attributes while writing is that you can flow continuously without a break. My question to you is, do you ever have problems while writing?
Let me think. So I think So the one problem that I have with writing is transitioning timelines.
So what exactly is transitioning timeline?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you knew. But listen, transitioning timelines is like when, say, okay, let's use this for example. Suppose I said while writing, or I typed it, and I said, the character walked down the street and got on a bus and went to the car dealership, purchased a car, left the car dealership, drove to work, and then that happened that day. And then the transitioning timeline for me is, then I would say something like the next day. And then after I said the next day, I don't like to keep saying the next day, the next day, the next day when I come to the end of whatever happened on that day. So what I sometimes have a problem with is saying, was it 2 months that passed, or was it, a week that passed? You get where I'm going?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so that's, for me, I call that transitioning timeline. So that's sometimes what I have a problem with. And the reason why I have that problem is because I always try to make sure that while writing, especially with fiction, that I am staying on course of a time frame that you can see. Like when I wrote the book, The Conspiracy, I said that what had happened, it was all done in the winter. And so I made sure that I was careful not to include summertime clothes, except that when they had went on a vacation to the tropicals, where that in itself was, summertime clothes are warranted.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned fiction. So while writing fiction, where do you draw from?
So I draw pretty much from real life, right? So I draw from real life, and some of it I get from my own personal life, while some of it may be fabricated and exaggerated. Like for example, again with the story, The Conspiracy, and I'll keep using that as my example when it comes to anything that I talk about with fiction, because again, the book is already published and I don't want to give away anything new that I'm working on. But so to answer that question, there was a town, right? And the town was called Studhorn, and it also said that it didn't have any government funding. Like, okay, so we know that's not real, right? So,
Definitely not.
definitely not. Definitely not, because, whatever the case may be with that. But, so I try to use different things that would ultimately give me, or give my reader the mindset of this could have happened. And maybe exaggerated again and fabricated, of course, because Studhorn does not exist, and fabricated and exaggerated because they didn't have any funding, and so Yeah.
Sounds like a private island or a private place to be to me.
I know, and it was supposed to be all in the side of the United States at
Right.
that. So, you know how that's fabrication.
You've also said before in our previous conversation
Hmm.
that Romney Malco, Russell Simmons, John Wall,
Yeah.
Tyra Banks, and I believe you may have mentioned Regina Hall.
Hmm.
How does all of these people inspire you if they are all in different fields? Like, what does a basketball player and an actor and a model have in common to push you towards your goals?
Well, that's a very loaded question, and that is a very good question. So, I'll start with explaining this. I'll start by explaining it this way. I'm not looking at Tyra Banks to be a supermodel. I'm not looking at John Wall to be a basketball player. What I see in these people are people who are passionate and that are meticulous, with their pursuit. And so you take John, for example, who is a basketball player, and then you take well, let's just use John here. So you take John, who's a basketball player, and what I like about people is people that have decided to push themselves to become greater than what they originally started out as. And we have these gifts and we have these talents, and then we master them to make them greater. And so, if you take John Wall, for example, and he is, will shoot a basketball and time and time and time and time again so that he could create a consistency with the way that he shoots the ball. Now, Tyra is a supermodel who does not necessarily have any, bearings on my career from the perspective of trying to be a supermodel. But what I like about this lady is her entrepreneurial pursuit, which I am an entrepreneur. And so I find that looking at these people give me the inspiration to continuously go. And so, like Tyra said one time, she said, see the fear and still go forward, right? Romney Malco has said one time, you don't know what you are capable of until you put yourself in it and go forward. And these things give me the push.
The push,
The
yeah.
push, right? It gives me that push. And so I like it because, like for example, where you take a basketball player, right? And so they get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day that you don't know about and that you don't see, and they shoot this basketball and they master this shot until nobody can do it like they do it, right? And Russell said to give until they can't live without you. And so I could remember early in my years where I was required to get up for prayer. And shout out to Prophetess Bynum and shout out to Bishop Weeks, and but these two people mentored my life, and they gave me something that was very unique. And this discipline was to get up and to handle your business. And
Yes.
and it was good. And so they would. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say that yes, and it does take discipline to do all the things that you're trying to do. You said you're an entrepreneur. We know that you're a writer.
Yes.
So all of those things will take a lot of discipline.
It does take a lot of discipline. Like, they would require me to be at church all the way across town with no car at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, okay, I could do it. I'll commit to it. And so I would get on my bike and I would ride across town. And
that was going to be a question for you.
yeah, and
Get there.
I would get on my bike and I would ride across town, and I would be faithful to prayer, right? And I would do what I was called to do. But now in my life, this same discipline helps me to not oversleep when it's time to catch an airplane. It helps me not to show up late to meetings when I have meetings with people out in the in the world while running through the field. And so these things have given me, these tools have given me the passion and the drive to build the brand, Mark Farentino, When it came time for me well, I'll keep that to myself. But when it came time for me to build a certain aspect of it, it wasn't about me saying, I can't do it. It's always an I can attitude. And that's why I like these people who I said inspire me. It's like being in a classroom. Your teacher's going to say, this is how you do the algebraic expression. And at first when looking at it, you're like, baby, I don't know what that is. And you don't understand it. But, right, you don't get it. But then if you pay attention long enough, then you'll learn it. And so this is why I look up to these people. I look up to these people because I see something that they know that I don't know. Because apparently I don't know it, or I would have it, right?
Well, you're working on it, and it takes time.
And it takes time, and it takes passion, and it takes strength, and it takes courage. And so I shout these people out every time because I respect their grind. You understand what I'm saying? I respect that they gave it their all to be where they are. And so with that being said, this is the reason why I can put a basketball player with a supermodel and with a philanthropist and then with an actor, and you say, how are all these people inspiring you and you're not in that field? Well, what they do inspire me to do is to dream, and to dream big. And so that's why I love them. Shout out to those people.
But it seems like you're taking a piece of each one of them and pulling them all together to become who you are becoming. And that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. Like, if you look at John Wall, right, for example, John Wall looked at Allen Iverson, and he looked at Magic Johnson, and he, I would not say that he mirrored his career after these men. And I will not say that Tyra Banks mirrored her career after Cindy Crawford, but they gave an inspiration to them while they were in pursuit of their goals. You understand? And you take Richard Branson, he is Tyra Banks' mentor. Tyra Banks is not building an airline that I know of. You understand? She probably could be, but I don't know. What my point here is saying, though, that you listen to whoever is the teacher. There's a saying that says that when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. And so I personally think that I'm ready. So these are my teachers. And so I listen to them. And they may not even know how much I pay attention to them. But their voices, just to hear them, inspires me to be greater.
Sounds good. So when the student is ready, the teacher will show up.
That's right.
I like that expression.
That's true.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave with us today?
I think just remain a student. You understand? Remain teachable. And no matter how big I get, I still will remember my teaching. I still will remember who taught me. I still will remember who inspired me to do when I didn't have the understanding to do. So, just always remain teachable and listen to your coaches and listen to your mentors. And sometimes they say stuff you don't necessarily want to do. Because let me tell you, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to take a bath at 4 o'clock in the morning so that I could be to church at 5 o'clock in the morning. On days when it was freezing cold and I'm on a bike. But
Wow.
I still push
And,
myself. I still push.
and you don't like the code.
And I don't like the code. I don't like the code. I don't like the code. And I push myself. But you know why I push myself? I push myself because what I understood is that they were teaching me something. And I wasn't just in it just to be in it. I was in it to learn. And so one of the other reasons though why, I really didn't have a problem with getting up and going over there early in the morning was because, I was taught to be loyal early on in my life. You understand? And
Yes, I do.
and so like Muhammad Ali, he has a quote that says that he did not count how many sit-ups he did. He would only start counting once the pain kicked in. He said because those were the ones that counted. And so for me, being faithful to something was taught from from my early stages in life. My dad, he was really big on paying attention to who you were dealing with, and he taught me to be loyal. And so, but my entire family was like this. They were like, if you're gonna do something, to do it, all the way, and don't half step with it. And so, Miss Miss Ethel Howard, rest in peace to her. She was a very prominent person in my childhood as well. She would wake me up every day. Listen, she would wake me up every single day, and she would say, "Rise and shine, sunshine. Give God the glory. Time to do housework." And so these things, though, these were tools that she was teaching. This wasn't something where she just was, trying to make me feel a certain way. She was teaching me discipline. And so when it came time for my years with Bishop and Prophetess, Bishop Weeks and Prophetess Bynum, it came like clockwork, because from early on, when my father, his first teaching was be loyal. Be consistent. If you plan with people and they're giving you 50%, he said, don't deal with those people. He said, because everybody brings 100 to the table. He said, but if they playing you 50, they give you 50 and they give the other person 50. And that other 50, they will take it and get you set up. So you watch who you deal with. So for me, being loyal was like, if you ever got a spanking for something, you knew what was to do and what you weren't supposed to do. So I'm just like, loyalty comes easy for me. And, I saw my father, he was a street hustler, right? And he was a damn good one too, because he kept the money. But the thing, what I saw from him though was him being consistent with the business that he ran. And so now as an adult, I don't sell drugs. I sell purses, and so it's easy for me to take all those tools. I don't sell drugs. I sell books. And so it's easy for me to take all of those tools and push myself with those tools. And then the mentors who are teaching me from just by me being inspired from their stories and from the things that they're still utilizing to push them in their careers today, I use those same tools. Regina Hall was one too who was very, 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 very inspiring to me. See,
yes, you mentioned her previously also.
yeah, so and her and Romney, funny is I don't know what. Do you hear me? And just hilarious. And so I think that when I see these people, I see people who took their little bit and made a lot out of it. And I love that. I love the fact that you can become great. And, to me, I understand that it doesn't happen overnight. I understand that it's not an overnight process. So if there's anything that I could tell anybody in the world, is to keep your head down and do your work.
Well, keep your head up too.
Well, keep your head up. That's right. Keep your head up like your nose bleeding like this. Keep your head up.
Not so far up that you can't.
That you can't
See the
see,
people.
or not so far up, not so far up that your head is in the clouds and you being
That's right.
snooty. That's good. That's real good. Yeah, but you got to be down to earth. But I just want people to be inspired because you can write a book and or you can build a business and you can dream a dream and the dream you can make it a reality. You understand? I literally wrote the book The Conspiracy. I started out with I was at a job somewhere and I was only required to do one single thing, and so the past time I just was writing on the computer, and I said I saw a deer that was caught in the thicket, and then before you know it, I got 190 pages, 94 pages, now in a book. So just keep going and keep dreaming. Everything is possible. It's just, do you have the guts to believe it all the way through? And it gets hard sometimes. I agree. The stuff is not always as easy for some than it is for others. Nevertheless, push yourself. I like how rappers say, that they went into the studio and they locked themselves into the studio and they were in that thing for 24, 48 hours into a whole week and came out with a cranking album that everybody loves. And so I shout out Diggy Simmons. I shout out Rockin' Mayers, who is ASAP Rocky. I shout out all of these guys who inspire people to be great. I love that. And so, I don't ever want people to think that I am being or I've changed or I've become different. My only thing is that I separate myself so that I can grow myself. You cannot, believe me, you cannot grow in the same circle of people who don't possess the same passion and the same vision.
Right.
These things, you
I
agree?
agree.
That's right. And so sometimes when you gotta separate yourself, people will think that you are, you think you better than them. And I don't necessarily feel like I'm better than people. I feel like I want to be better than who I was.
Right.
And
Sometimes you just have to cut people off.
yeah, and to me, it's like not no love laws. It's not no love laws here. It's more that I have to now, if I see something in my lifetime, and I know that if I'm in this very circle, see, Russell Simmons would say this, and he would say, look around and see who's in your circle. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong circle. And so I ain't gonna say that I'm the smartest person in the room, but I understood the concept which he was teaching. And he was trying to tell you that you need to be in a different circle of people who can inspire you to do greater things. See, it was Russell Simmons that ultimately gave me the mindset, because I ain't gonna say that he gave me the idea. I've always wanted to be a fashion designer, except I didn't know how to get it started. I didn't know what to do. I lied to you not. Look at this. I have a mannequin right here. This is my dressmaker mannequin. And I've always wanted to be a designer, except I didn't know what to do. So I was reading Russell Simmons' book, and his book was called Super Rich. And he had said something along the line of, if you want to be a fashion designer, then I better see you out there on 7th Avenue. And I was like, bam! 7th Avenue! Oh my God! That's where I need to be at. Right. That's where I need to be at. And so it was Russell Simmons. And this is why I look up to him, because, yeah, he was writing a book. Of course, you're going to put stuff inside of a book. But it was also the mindset to say, hey, don't try to get my book or read my book. I want you to pay attention to it. And he just was talking to the masses. It's no different from Romney Malco. Romney Malco was just talking to the masses. And he was saying, hey, come be a part of my movie and do this and do that. And then before you know it, a relationship was developed. But what I like about these people was they weren't selfish with their gift. You got where I'm going?
Yes, I get where you're going.
So, I guess that's a little rant. I probably went off on a rant, but I'm just passionate. That's all. So.
And we get passionate about what we believe in, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all should do that. And you gave out a few more nuggets along the way. So, is there any other nuggets that you'd like to give me today?
um.
Chatting?
Nah. Just be consistent. Whoever may listen, and it may feel like when you starting off, nobody is paying you any attention. It may feel like when you starting off that it's the hardest thing to do, but find you a mentor. And again, like I said early on, it may not be a person who is doing what you're doing. I definitely am not playing basketball. You understand? But I love watching John Wall, who demonstrates a great character and demonstrates a man of integrity and demonstrate greatness in his pursuit. I love that. I really, really do, because guess what? That's somebody that I would want to be like. And I always say to my sisters that if nobody don't want to be like you, you need to fix your character. They always be like, you always preaching. But I don't care. It's the truth.
There's one in every family.
Yeah, that's right. But you're gonna get the truth from me. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
There's one in every family.
That's right.
Well, I thank you very much, Farentino, for your time this evening.
Oh, yeah, thank you so very much, Madam Sunshine, for interviewing me. I really do appreciate the time spent.
It has been a pleasure.
It has definitely been a pleasure. Until next time.
Until next time.
All right, darling. Hello? Ma! Telephone!